Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and the wisdom of how they sold their first million.
Hello everyone, and today you're gonna find out how you too can start your path to make your first million. And how would you like to do that if the foundation was in property? Today we have a special guest that is gonna share with us an incredible insight, how the good, the bad, and the funny, how he made his first million. But before that, Keith, can you please introduce yourself to the audience and share a little bit about your background?
Hi, welcome. My name is Keith Punler. I'm based in Scotland, and for the last 35 years, property has been my bag. I trained as a surveyor and started as self-employed 1988. Seems a long time ago. Harry.
So then, Keith, why in a very early age, what made you think that was a good idea for you to start your own development, your business in development, right? Rather than work for somebody else?
Okay, interesting question. I guess initially because my parents worked for themselves and I saw what hard work could deliver. They were very hardworking. And after I trained through university on the surveying course, I needed to work in a private practice for 3 years. So I went to work for somebody else to get my professional qualifications, 7 years in total, 4 at university, followed by 3 in practice. But even during that first 3 years, I was getting itchy feet. I had bought a plot of land to build my own house. I was going to get married at the time. And I enjoyed that experience a lot. And I understood that by building that house, I could create more wealth in doing that over a 6-month period than it might have taken me to have worked for another 3 years or so for somebody else. So I think the touch paper was lit with regard to value creation. And in that first example, I did a lot with my own hands, tiled the roofs and carried the roof tiles up onto up the scaffold and things. I became a bit smarter than that quite quickly and learned how to stick to what I was good at. But that was where the journey started.
So wow, you decided that it was a good idea to buy a piece of land and to build your own house.
Yeah, I was getting married the following year, and we had put in an offer for an old cottage to renovate it. I was always interested in property, thought I'd buy this old cottage, do it up. And I lost out. In Scotland, we have a bidding process for sales, and I lost out by £1,000.
Wow.
I couldn't believe, my bid was £16,000, and I couldn't believe that somebody had been so stupid to make an offer of £17,000 on the same property. I thought, wow, they'll never get their money back. You know, this is 35, 40 years ago. But it just shows you property values just escalate. So I decided not to try and buy a property in a bidding process. There was some land available on fixed price.
Because you don't have control, right?
Exactly. So fixed price for land. So I thought, well, I'll buy the land. I don't know how I'm going to pay for it yet because I've just been out of student for 18 months or so. But I'll work that out and then I'll work out how to build the house. And so that's.
And you managed to work out how to build the house also, yeah? Probably some of the steps of building the house you had to do yourself, yeah?
Well, that's exactly right. I talked to several companies that could do the sort of planning package and supply the components for the house. And I went to speak to the local mortgage company who looked favourably upon what I was trying to do, but then said I needed to come back with X pounds of equity. So I had to work that one out. But luckily, my first employer was pleased with the work I was doing, so he gave me a short-term loan, which was enough to bridge the gap. But as you're right, Harry, I had to make sacrifices at every corner. Labour to the tradespeople. So when I said I needed the roof tiled, I got a quote for the full provision of the service, but instead I said, well, what if I get all the roof tiles loaded up onto the roof? Well, you'll save £500 or £700. So I said, well, that's what I'll do this weekend, thinking I could do it in an afternoon. It was a little bit longer than an afternoon.
And to think outside the box, yeah. I remember when I started my first property business, right? Now, after we have a large operation going on, like I shared with you before, we managed to sell over 5 million across 10 or 12 years of operation. And I remember that when we have a large operation running, right? If a boiler gets broken, or if we need, for example, to paint a room or flat, I remember the guest just was picking up the phone and calling maintenance and say, okay, can you go to this room and paint it? Okay, fine. And then send us the invoice and we pay you. And if a toilet get clogged, okay, you could just call the plumber go unblock the toilet and do it, yeah? And it was beautiful for me seeing them doing that so easily. And I was remember that when I started that business, it was no money to call anybody to paint. It was me who had to paint the room. And it's me who needs to go and unclog the toilet. And I think that once you build the company, right, and you have sales and you can employ teams, right, to do the job obviously better than what you can do. But the earlier start, when you have low resources and you have to build the business or the ground, most of the thing you have to do yourself, right?
That's it. Nobody else is coming to do it if you've not got the budget to employ. So it's the same with the accounts. I'd work hard during the day, and then at night I'd start in the bedroom on my paperwork, on my paying of the bills, on my doing of my VAT returns.
You have to do it yourself because
nobody else there to do it. No.
And then the thing is that that journey actually make you also, I think that what you sharing with us, right, to like you that have bill over $1 billion doing the calculation of pound worth in property now, but the thing is that the beginnings things not always have been this way. Yeah, people that now they see the success and they see the beauty, and people think that the journey, they only see the outcome and they haven't seen the beginnings, right?
It's certainly not even easy, and even today there's challenges every day, and I think you learn from the challenges, you learn from the mistakes much more than you learn from the successes. So I welcome the challenges for sure. I see them as opportunities, but definitely some hurdles that you sometimes think are insurmountable, but you have to find a way to get over them.
And sometimes the business, they come in, we help a lot of business, to grow with funding and so on. And sometimes the entrepreneur comes and they say, Harry, we need funding. And I said, no, you don't. You have to do the job yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
You need funding to find the first client. No, if you don't go yourself as a CEO and find your first client and learn how to do it, if you find the money, you're gonna lose all this money because you don't know how to do these skills. I remember working with our builders, right? And at the end, we decide to have our own team in house, and the reason for that is that sometimes we were getting the quotations way too much of what actually worth. and the guys were telling me, no, Harry, this worth this money because we're gonna do this, and that. And I was telling me, I said, guys, you can see me now in a suit and you see me clean, yeah, but I done this thing that you're about to do. I know exactly where you're gonna get the materials. I can even tell you where you get it cheaper than where you get it. And it doesn't cost that. No way. If I want, I can do it in less time and with less money. Yeah, it was.
What's the difference between the entrepreneur mindset and the employee mindset? We find a way. We get it done. Even in the property that I'm sitting in now, and I'm fortunate enough to stay in a glorious property, we wanted to knock 2 rooms into one, and the wall was over 1 meter thick.
Wow.
We needed it 5
1
meters
meter
wide.
thick.
1 meter thick, 5
Wow.
meters wide, and 4 meters high to knock the 2 rooms together. And because the wall was in a section of the building that was 5 stories high, I couldn't get any contractor to quote the work. None of them said that they wanted to do it. None of them, either because they didn't have the labour or the appetite, it was too difficult for them. One said they couldn't get insurance. So in that case, I said to a couple of my labourers, we're going to do it ourselves.
Wow.
Once they picked themselves up from the floor, we got on, we hired the equipment, the jackhammers and things, and we carried it out ourselves. Over 40 tons of stone taken out of that wall, and it quite literally was me on the end of the jackhammer.
How you did it, Keith? You put the beam?
Yeah. Beams
Put
on
the
the
beam, yeah.
ceiling, beams on the floor, and columns on the wall, so it's like a complete box.
And it will sustain, yeah? It will have the same effect, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. It was for rigidity and for stiffness and things. And now the room looks fantastic. Nobody can believe it was knocked together.
Yeah, because it will add a huge value to the property, right?
Exactly. It gives us an entertaining room where we can host 175 people for a dinner.
Fantastic.
So it needed to be done. We find a way. We find a way, don't we, Harry?
Yeah, I remember back in the day, they asked us to, it was a pub in Brick Lane, right? And the pub got fire, right? And nobody want to touch the pub. And no one in East London want to touch it. Yeah, the people were thinking that it will take 100,000, 150,000 to fix it, right? And the project came to me, and I went actually to the pub. And I'm seeing the pub inside, and I think, well, the walls are a little bit dark, but the structure was touching the structure, and the structure was still strong. You know, the fire brigade arrived on time. It was no big deal. It looked very scary, and people that were going inside the project said, "No way! I need to spend 150,000 to fix this." And it's like you said, you're a little bit creative. We went with our team there. And in 2 months we got it was 9 rooms. It was a big project, yeah, and nine rooms to put them back together to life again. And in a couple of months we did it, and I think that we didn't even spend 20K. And we did everything, HMO license, everything. After 2 months, everything was up and running, and it was a very, very profitable exercise.
Well done.
It was because of that, like, you know, when the people have the fear, when the people don't think creatively, if we can find a way, this is we can make a huge return, right?
Well done. Brilliant. Good job.
Yeah. Situations like this. So, Keith, let's talk about your journey, right? And now about this amazing project that you have now, where you decided that now you want to help people, right, to grow the business and eventually get a turnover on sales 1 billion, similar like you did. I think this is a part of the journey of the entrepreneur, right? Sometimes after we build the business, there is time to give back. There is time that you think that, well, what is the legacy that I can leave behind? What is my purpose? How many people can I help? Right? And I think this is an amazing self-discovery journey that we find very common in all successful entrepreneurs, right? And I
Sure.
think you are in that step right now. So tell us a little bit more about the Mastermind project that you are creating now, about this amazing facility, what can host 175 people, and what's your view, what's your vision for this new venture that you are putting together now?
Well, a couple of specific reasons, a couple of light bulb moments that have led me toward this. On the internet just now, I see adverts littered all over the Instagram, whatever social media outlet it might be, property internet gurus, many of whom, when you look at the background, they've been something completely different 6 or 12 months ago. Or they'll tell us that they've got wonderful experience because they've maybe done 5 flips or something. Now, that's great, that's terrific, and good on them. But when they present themselves as having a lifetime of experience and they can show you how you can make $1 million in 3 months or whatever, you've got to treat it with some degree of caution. And I started to realize that I had a wealth of knowledge. I've made so many mistakes that these guys and girls haven't yet come across, whether it's working through recessions, whether it's doing difficult projects. So that was something that resonated with me about the information store that I have after 35 years and, as you say, £1 billion worth of revenue on property projects over that period. I also had 3 very close brushes with death. And not to be too melodramatic about it, but it does make you
Strong,
assess, where you are, what you want to do. And I worked out that I wanted to help more people on this journey. So yes, we now have this Build a Billion Masterclass. It's focused on residential retreats at our castle property, which is 1 hour outside of Glasgow. Very easy to get to, but it's a beautiful retreat where we can do a lot of training and mentoring, but most importantly, on the networking side of things. Because some of the courses that we run are for the elite members, others are for those just getting started out that have been maybe 2 or 3 years on this journey, finding some roadblocks, finding some stumbles that we can help them with. And in both these ends of the spectrum, the mentoring is important, but the networking is even more so. Who else is in that room? Who else are you feeding off of? And I'm really enjoying that. I've come across some great people, both in terms of those wanting to come on the course, but also those that we introduce, speakers, guests, even just hosts and raconteurs at dinner. It's a program that includes spouses, so you don't need to tell the family member that you're going to be disappearing for 2 or 3 days. You can bring them with you, and we can do some wonderful things in the castle grounds, and we have entertainment and first-class catering from our chef, etc. So, yeah, really looking forward to that new journey, expanding and growing more.
I think that this is the fundamental of the masterminds, coming from Napoleon Hill, right? That they were at the time Henry Ford and the other person, they were meeting each other, right? They were one of the successful person at the time. And they find out that these 2 fellows, they used to go and hunt together, right? And they were sharing experiences.
Yes.
So this is where the first instances of the masterminds. At the end of the day, we always share with everyone, your
Yes.
network is your net worth, right?
Exactly.
And everything, if you want to grow, right, the collective effort, right, you can grow faster, because the problem that is for you is not for somebody else, right? Sometimes maybe your problem is that you cannot find funding, right? But this is your problem. Then you have another person in the mastermind that funding is not a problem. They have the cash. What they need to see is that if this project actually has the return that he needs. And if this project can demonstrate that, he has the funding available, right? So at the end of the day, the mastermind, the networking event, to put the successful people together, right, is an exercise where everybody wins and everybody can grow together. So
Precisely.
I'm a great believer of the masterminds, yeah,
Um,
growth, right?
it's amazing that everybody's on the same journey, but at different stages, and nobody's in front and nobody's behind. We're just all on that same journey. And for us, we often think that the problems that we face are insurmountable, or that it's only our problems and that there's not really any other solutions. But hey, somebody's faced those same problems before, exactly the same issues.
And
And
Keith, the mastermind is specialized in property developers, in property, or is for any business that would like to join?
any entrepreneurial business, we've got a few stipulations. You must be running a business. You must be enthusiastic. You've probably already been 3 or 4 years down that journey. You're already turning over 1 to 2 million sterling turnover. But as long as you're ambitious, it can be any sector. Now, my own
Fantastic.
experience is mostly focused on property, but also hospitality, transportation, aviation, maritime. So we've got a little bit of a spectrum there, but we also bring in some fantastic speakers, some fantastic guests across all different sectors.
Fantastic.
And at the more mature end, then it is more on the real estate side of things. You don't have to be wanting to grow your business to £1 billion of retail sales. You just have to be ambitious, and you have to have the right attitude. You have to have the willingness to embrace this. So it's by invitation only. We don't have huge opportunities, so it's only from time to time that we release the invites, and we're very selective. We're fortunate that we can pick and choose who we want to work with, and that's a great place to be. But if the attitude isn't right, then we'll say that we can't help those candidates.
And in the end of the day, Keith, at the end of the day, everyone have to learn about property. I think that even we still invest in property today, right? And regardless,
Exactly.
we're doing our business, which is a coaching and mentoring, right? So the whole thing is that property, every wealthy people that I know, they all have properties.
It underpins
Whether you
so
like
many.
it or whether people like it or no, property is something that everyone has to have a very good degree of knowledge as an entrepreneur, because if you know what you're doing, and let's expand on that, you can make a great investment and have decent returns. Yeah, I think that coming back to your point is very valid, right? Some people they appear online. This is the property course. This is a property thing. This is how can you make 1 million in 3 days and everything. And the issue is, in short period of time. And I agree 100% with you, Keith, that if somebody has make 1 million in property, even by the way that they speak, you can tell that they never seen 1 million in their life. Makes sense?
Wow.
You
Some
even
of
by
them are
the
very
way that
good,
they
though.
speak, right? Do
Yeah.
you think so? Only will take someone that actually have made it to raise their hand in that workshop and said, "Listen, yeah, you never make 1 million in your life in property."
Well, there are some very successful second-hand car salesmen, and that's what some of them remind me of. Now, that's not to say them all, because there are some
No,
very
no,
good
of
ones.
course no. But the
These
what we're
ones,
talking is that the when it goes to, if you're gonna teach about property, right, or you're gonna be mentoring people about property or whatever, right, make sure that you had actually done it. You actually have a track record behind that can prove that, because otherwise it becomes deceiving, and people can make wrong investments because the people don't have the right experience to guide them properly. Make sense?
So the warning signs are there when they say, well, this course usually costs £5,000, but today we're going to give you it not for £499, but we're going to give you it for £99. And they start to say, well, by comparison, some of our courses cost £50,000 for some of the residential courses. But it's, what do you get for £99? What do you get for £50,000? And if we can add value that's going to create an extra £4 or £5 million to your revenues, or to indeed your net wealth, then 50,000 is a fantastic investment. For £99, if you get nothing out of it, or you don't use that, then you're better going out for a nice meal with your partner and enjoying some time to relax.
Here in UK, actually, we notice what we discovered. People don't have any problem here to pay 40, 50,000. The issue is that we have to be able to demonstrate that the people can make back the money, and they can make more. If you can effectively demonstrate that, there is no issue, especially in the kingdom. People will partner and will buy the course for 50K. The problem is that, sometimes those courses, there is nothing behind, right?
Exactly. Now, not all of our courses start at 50,000.
Yeah.
There's some that start at 5,000. But the critical thing is, are you getting added value? Do we?
Do you have a solid plan that you can put in place that you can make the money back something like this? And for that, we need experience. Yeah, we actually we're happy, right, for all those coaches and mentors that are out there in property, right? Because somehow they are empowering the people to go into this journey, right? And eventually having a mentor is really, really helpful, because the trial and error is painful and expensive.
Some people can't come back from the mistakes that they make in property because it's such a deep hole if you get it wrong. It's not like, well, you can just write off a couple of £100. It could be a couple of £100,000 that people are making mistakes over. So
a lot. When you make a mistake in the property, you get hit.
There's no way back. Yeah, no way back.
Exactly. Some of the time there is no way back. If the mistake is you. So having the right mentor and the right coach and the right mastermind, the right people around, that you can say, hey, look, have a look at the project. I'm about to invest this.
And here's the other thing, Harry, that I'm not there preaching about how good I have been at all the decisions I have made. Quite the reverse. I share my mistakes.
Exactly.
But, I was very successful in the UK and sold a business, and I had a non-compete clause where I couldn't work in the UK for 3-4 years on performance. So I went to do some stuff internationally and did some stuff successfully in Eastern Europe, did a hotel in a national park, sold that to big 5-star hotel chain. And I thought, this must be easy. So I went to South America and I did some projects in South America, and I don't really talk much about the success there because there was no success. It was a learning curve. It was
South America tricky. Where? Which country?
Brazil. I chose my local partners poorly, and it's a country that I love. But if you've got the wrong local partner, then you're not going to go well.
It becomes difficult. Yeah.
Very difficult.
Yeah.
So,
but also a learning curve, right? A learning experience.
And that's why I'm very happy to share, the good aspects, the bad aspects, explain some anecdotes where I can say, well, this is what worked for me. It might not work for you, but this is what happened when I took these decisions. And if you want to go down that route, fantastic. Or if you just want to say you're going to do your own thing, then we can maybe help you doing some of that also. So yeah, I enjoy talking about the mistakes because I've learned so many lessons from them. Successes have been good too, for sure, but the mistakes are the ones that I remember most.
Yeah, and I mean, let's face it, we learn from out of our mistakes. I remember we started this property business at the beginning, and I think I was lucky, right? It was a good product. We have a lot of clients. We have a lot of properties. We were renting the rooms very good and everything was amazing, right? And I thought that I was an entrepreneur. And I decided to open a restaurant in Brick Lane, and I lost £250,000. So, and I think that
So anybody,
it was the biggest master in business and MBA in
uh,
the planet. Yeah, because wow, restaurants there, you had to learn a lot of skills to actually run them
of course
and,
you do.
and make them successful, right?
I don't know anybody whose journey has just been a straight line of success. You know,
And
if you're out there, come and talk to me, because we could get you to present at our masterclasses, because that's a secret that I don't have.
and actually, out of the failures, I think I learned more about business in that journey in this restaurant,
Yes,
losing this money, that actually I apply until today, right? I think that when you do the mistakes and when they're painful, and when you lose money, right? Something gets inside
yes,
yourself. I think it builds character, right?
exactly,
and
exactly.
and make you stronger for the next project. But at the end of the day, we always are taking challenges. We just become more savvy because of the
Exactly.
experience and the trial and error.
What does the song say? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Huh?
Exactly. However, on the positive note, if now we have all this experience accumulated, right? Um, it's very good that we can share this knowledge with the people, for example, for your mastermind, right? Because let me tell you, I know by just speaking only few minutes with you, that you can take any development project, and somebody can show you. I said, I'm gonna make money with this, and you only can look in 10 minutes and say, listen, it's not gonna work, or listen, this is very good. This I think that for the people working with you, you are like the insurance policy. It would be amazing to have an insurance policy, because this is what you said. If something goes wrong, especially in development and in
Yes,
property, you don't come back, right? But you do need the right people with the right experience, with the right journey, with the trial and error, that can give you an honest opinion, can give you an honest feedback about the project. And I think these people working with you, they are lucky, because when you were doing it, nobody was around to tell you. It doesn't
well,
matter.
I did benefit from having good people around me, but you're right. One of the programs that we have is exactly that. That it's online and distance and virtual. I should use the term, where we can receive some of the mentees' own proposals. Either thinking about doing this project, or they've got a project that's hit some trouble, and can we shine a torch on that? Can we identify where some of the pitfalls might be, or where we can dig them out of a hole? So we do have a 12-month program that does exactly that.
Very
And
good. That's
yeah,
very
I mean,
helpful.
well, again, we don't have hundreds of candidates at the one time, but at any given time, we could be dealing with 12 or 15 entrepreneurs that are on that journey. And it means that there's a real hand-in-glove, one-to-one type of hand-holding going on in that process, and seems to be working well.
Fantastic. And now, Keith, the secret that everybody is waiting. Yeah, everybody wants to know, what are the 5 steps? What are the 5 key steps that you took in your business, in your career, in your life, that actually make you to grow successfully, not only to sell 1 million, actually you sold 1 billion, right? So for all our listeners, everybody, if you are at home now, please take pen and paper, because those steps that kids follow during his lifetime of experience could be the source of motivation for you to start to grow, or for you to actually go and be mentored by him, right? So, Keith, what are the 5 steps?
Gosh, it's
Step
difficult
number one.
it's still difficult to distill it down to 5. But number one, I would say the best time to do it is now. You know, best time might have been 5 years ago, but the next best time is now. So, get on and do it, and don't
And
listen
start
to
now,
those
yeah.
that say it can't be done. There
Yeah,
is a
let's expand in this one, Keith, because a lot of people say, well, I want to have my own business, I want to become millionaire, but then they are thinking about, well, maybe it's not the right time this year, maybe let me wait 6 months, and I'm 100% agree with you, right?
the right time is now.
Until they don't take the decision that they're gonna go for it,
Yes.
nothing is gonna move, right?
Exactly. My biggest successes have come when the economy has been in difficulty. I could have sat on my hands and said, I need to wait till it's getting better. But no, do it now. Number one, get on and do it.
And that's what you did exactly when you decided to build your first house, right? You say, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, I like the idea of creating things, and I didn't really have all the answers as to how I was going to do it, how I was even going to fund it. But I said, it's what I want to do. I'm going to get on and I'm going to try it. And really glad that I did.
Build the house is difficult project, and if it goes wrong, oh god, it's a lot of money goes there. Okay, so then number one is step is start now. Whatever you are, if you're listening your car, if you're driving home, and you have this idea in your mind that you're not comfortable in your work, you want something different for your life, maybe you want more freedom. The step number one that Keith is suggesting us to do is just start right now. Don't wait more, because life is too short, and with the right help, we can get you there quickly, right? Faster. So then, Keith, what will be the step number 2?
To not be frightened to change your tack, to change your course. If it's not quite working for you, don't be frightened to do something that your competition's not doing. Think outside the box, but persevere. When the things are getting tough, and you start to wonder if you're on track, is there really an outlet for the product that you've got? Is there really a demand? I mean, as long as you've done your homework, as long as you understand your market, keep believing, because if you don't believe it, nobody else is going to believe in your product either.
I agree with you. And then, the step number 2 would be exactly like you said, be flexible, right? A lot of entrepreneurs, they decide to start a business, and if they want to, I don't know, to sell shoes, that's what they want to sell, and they don't want to move from that direction. And sometimes you have to be flexible. You need to observe the market. You need to look for that gap, for that niche, right? And Bruce Lee said, be water, my friend, right? So in business, you have to be flexible, because at the end of the day, it's not what you want to sell, it's what your clients want to buy.
Exactly.
And you have to understand that, like, what do they really want, right? And do and move in that direction within your product. And sometimes it's a little bit challenging for entrepreneurs, because they are very attached to the product, right? And they don't want to move on on the direction that is required, and that could bring a big issue, a big problem out of this, right? So after the step number 2, be flexible and find the opportunity, right? What would be the step 3, Keith, that every single entrepreneur should be doing out there?
Stand out from the crowd. I think
Wow.
it's very difficult to just be a little bit better at what you are doing if all your competition is doing exactly the same and there's no differentiation of your product from anyone else's. So I'll give you a couple of examples, perhaps in the aviation sector. Sir Richard Branson, a great example of him using his strength, which is his persona, his character, to make that difference. When he launched the transatlantic airline, he dressed up as an air hostess, complete with beard and skirt and the whole outfit. He got so much PR from that that you couldn't really consider that Lord King, who was the chairman of British Airways, his biggest competitor at the time, you couldn't really imagine that he would be willing to do that. You know, he was old school and boardroom type. So Branson, he attracted a whole new crowd to that airline. If you wanted to be in the in crowd, you would book with Virgin Airways rather than British Airways. And really, it was a bit too late for British Airways before they woke up to how somebody being totally different was going to achieve remarkable results.
Yeah.
Second example in that is Stelios and EasyJet. Again, contrasting with the main flag carriers. And at that point in time, there were no low-cost operators
It was very revolutionary, actually.
Exactly. What do you mean you'll have to pay for a meal? You know, flag carriers would say, no, we'll do all the hot meals and everything. But, you know, who made the money?
It was different.
Exactly. Very much so. Yeah.
I think Steve Jobs always say, you know, you don't need to be better than anybody else. Just you have to be different, and that would be enough. Of course, you do need to have a good quality product. I think, you know, Richard Branson with the PR, but also the product is very good.
Yes.
Do fly very comfortable in his planes, and I don't know if you travel on his trains, and pretty much. So the is being different, but actually differentiate yourself, be unique. But I think at the end of the day, to have a good product behind also help this differentiation to stack in people's mind, right? And like you said, with the EasyJet, it was out of the mind, right? We're just gonna do short trips and no food, so the plane is gonna be like a bus. who's gonna thought that it was a huge change in how, and today, and he set an example for everyone. Even today, even the company Ryanair took the model, and now they do it with even bigger planes. The same concept, right?
It was a perfect example of him believing that his competition didn't always get it right. You know, don't live in awe of the big players, because if you can, you know, be the speedboat against the supertanker, you're going to get there quicker. And that was a perfect example. In my own case, I bought out one of my major competitors, who was a big PLC, or it was their
wow.
And when I took over that business, prior to that, I thought they're just too big a player. I couldn't go near them. You know, they would be able to teach me so much. But in truth, the opposite was true. The parent company was desperate to exit the market. I came along, reinvented the business a little bit, and merged the two into my existing business. And from the face of it, wow, we could have been seeing the big PLC. They do everything right. They must, you know, they are a PLC, therefore they must be doing things properly. But in the event, we took over them rather than the other way around. So,
oh wow, fantastic!
Never be frightened to do something a little bit different.
Wow, exactly. And then what would be the step number 4, Keith, that people should be doing out there?
Step number 4 for me was trying to find unusual ways to grow the business. I've touched on acquisitions, and I grew through several means: organically, through modest acquisitions, and then one very large acquisition, which was a real challenge. There was a big culture shock, because I thought my culture in the business I had created would rub off on the bigger business. But in truth, a lot of that went the wrong way, and it was a much harder challenge to sort out.
Yeah, because it's a legacy on those companies, right?
Exactly. And I had overlooked silly things like all their staff on the same tier as our staff all had slightly better company cars than our team had. And so, the culture migrated, and there was a little bit of anxiety developed in some of my good team. But it took a little bit longer, but we got there. But vertical integration was a policy that I then started to adopt, and that did me very well, where we controlled our supply chain. Because we were working at the very upper end of the luxury real estate market in the UK, it was difficult for us to get consistency. If we were working in Edinburgh or Glasgow, Aberdeen or London, the available contractors or subcontractors to you in these different locations meant that there was a real risk that the product was going to be completely different. And that's something we had to try and guard against. So we ended up bringing virtually everything in-house, building a factory where we manufactured everything in-house. I learned by assessing not direct competitors, but other players in sectors that I admired. So in my case, we were property and construction, but I looked very closely at one of the leading bespoke motor manufacturers, car manufacturers. And I also
what they were doing, right?
Yacht manufacturer, exactly. Those two examples were a company called Sunseeker Yachts in Poole and Aston Martin, both hand-built products. And that's what we were doing, hand-built. But I learned to bring things into the factory, to have our own furniture makers who would then jump in the lorries with the goods and take them to the sites and fit it out so that the consistency of quality was right across the board.
Is key for success. Yeah, I'm
glad
that you brought that up. Because consistency in the product and exactly what you were sharing, the market development scenario completely different. That could be Glasgow. However, you represent the brand, you represent the company, and the quality has to be there and it has to be consistent. Yeah, we had the same issue with the restaurant, right? It was a challenge, to keep the consistency, right? I think that but it's that consistency, because at the end of the day, your client, your investors, they have an expectation. If they bought a property from you in Glasgow, and they already know what to expect even without going inside, and now they're investing in London, they're expecting exactly the same quality. But London is completely different ball game. Everything is way too expensive. So how can we keep the same consistency? Because at the end of the day, the investor, they are buying into your brand, they're buying into what you're developing, so they already know what to expect, even without visiting the place, and it becomes really challenging. You have to be very creative to keep the consistency of the development, no matter where it's done, right?
Exactly. Couldn't agree more.
Huge challenge, yeah.
Yes.
But huge challenge, but at the same time, the secret for success, right? If you get that right.
Exactly.
Because and then, Keith, what would be the step number 5? The final step after they we can say that they develop the process and they keep the consistency and win the battle of consistency, which is a big battle to win. But
number 5, people.
Oh, very important.
Given my time, if I was given it over, I would study the psychology of the human race at an earlier age, because people are fascinating. And it took me so long to realize that there were different kinds of people. There were the ones that needed the big stick, and there were the ones that needed the carrot and the cajoling and the mentoring all of the time. And I think it took me a long time to realize that there was different management styles that got the best out of different people. So I would say reward those very well that are contributing to your success, and remove those very quickly, those ones that have a toxic nature or a toxic culture, because sometimes you can't tell until after you've appointed them. But as soon as you know, your gut instinct is telling you they're not going to change their spots. So people, fascinating.
And I think become a leader and a role model. I think that we do have employees working for us at the moment that sometimes I check and say, guys, you're still around. If you with so many years you've been working for me, you go to somewhere else, probably they will pay you double. And with everything that you have been doing for years working with me, you have a bigger portfolio than everybody out there. Why are you still around? And the answer is like, we love working with you. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, is find that right people and become, especially the key people from your company, right? They become like part of an extension of your family, right?
Exactly. My businesses weren't huge in terms of people. We employed up to about 500 people at one time, but
Wow.
it was enough to understand the different cultures and the different mindsets, and that was the single biggest valuable lesson for me.
Yeah, and the more you understand people, and the more you can improve your process to to bring the right people to your organization, right? Which is a mistake that at the beginning, we did a lot of mistakes like that. We were hiring so fast, right? And it was a big problem because once you had them in, you cannot get them out. So you
Exactly.
can't. You need to now that they are in, you need to train them, you need to coach them, you need to change the negative mindset and things like that. It's a hard work, right?
It's very hard work.
Whether in the first place, if hiring the right people with their right attitude would be a very more financially viable solution to have, because once you hire the person that you bring them in, and if it's not right, it's really expensive
Very, very difficult. Yes.
very difficult and expensive exercise. So on that note, any final message, Keith, that you have for everybody listening that want to make a big difference in their life? They think that they got something that they want to share with the world, and they're looking for a mentor, for a role model, for somebody to help them to get these big steps. Any final message?
I would say never lose sight of the fact to enjoy the journey. There are people out there that are willing to help if you just ask. And on that note, if you want to come and find us, I'm sure Harry, you'll show up the website.
Tell us, share with me what website they can find you.
They can find us at allthews.capital, but that's with the K, capital.org.uk. On that, you'll see some of the programs that we run, where our base is, and drop us a note on there, or indeed arrange to make a telephone call, a discovery call. That would be with me personally. We'll spend a bit of time, we'll chat, we'll see if we think we can help you on your journey. And if you get invited to come and join us, that's fantastic. Don't worry if you don't get invited. We are very selective, and we only can deal with a modest number of people at any given time. But do go onto that site, www.capital, spelt with a K and not a C, capital.org.uk. Find the contact details there, give us a call, and let's see if we can help you on your journey.
Thank you so much, Keith, for these amazing tips about how everybody out there can start their journey on the pursuit to build and grow the company and make and set the first million, right? So thank you so much, and for every single one of you listening or looking at us in social media. See you in our next chapter in this interview series, how successful entrepreneurs made the first million, the good, the bad, the funny, and the ugly. Bye for now.
Thanks a lot, Harry.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.